Hey folks, so 14 minutes or so of me riveting in the previous video wasn't enough. Here's more for your viewing enjoyment. Again, I've sped this up a ridiculous amount because, once you see one rivet thrown, you've probably seen many, and there are many, I'll tell you that. This is me summing up the initial skin riveting on the empennage here. There's not a whole heck of a lot left to do on the bottom portions of the skin. Like I said previously, this is very much a two-person job, and so here shortly you'll see my wife come out and help me rivet some of those pieces on the bottom where I just could not reach around. I got long arms, but I'm not quite that big of a monkey, so I can't quite make that reach. Most of this riveting was fairly easy. I think across all of these rivets, I probably had, I don't know, I'm going to guess 10 that I needed to drill out and re-rivet just because I didn't like how they sat, or you could, generally I do the fingernail test. If you can hang a fingernail on it or something like that, if you could feel that ridge as you drag your finger across it, probably not good enough. 10's not bad. There's a lot of rivets here, so I figure if I made 10 mistakes across the whole thing, that's pretty darn good. Here I've turned it up on its side, and I'm doing a couple of extra rivets on the very bottom, and then I go up and I add rivets and tape and get it all prepped up for the wife to come out and help me. Like I said, this is about to be the two-person job portion of it. And initially, we had her with the gun itself, and I was holding the bucking bar, and it was just kind of sliding around on her, and I get it. It can, if you don't hold it just right, it'll buck away, it'll move around on you. So we decided to go the other way. I said, you know what, why don't you try doing the bucking bar and I'll hold the gun, and that worked out beautifully. In fact, her rivets were probably better than mine, so I think from now on I'm going to try to get her to do all my rivets. Yeah, good luck. Lots of rivets, and I just can't help but watch that roll of tape slowly over the course of this move down the empennage to the tail and fall off. Staying focused on the important things here. The roll of tape idea actually works really well. Using that blue painter's tape sort of as rivet tape helps keep markings from happening on the rivets themselves. Otherwise, you get these kind of weird flat marks and just discoloring. For whatever reason, the painter tape helps remove that or keep it from happening, as well as giving you something to hold the rivet in while you're preparing the area. Obviously, a lot of rivets on the side, and if you put 3 rivets in and start bucking one of them, the other 2 are going to shoot out. So this is where the tape comes in handy. So the wife, she did a great job. I really appreciate her coming out there. It was a really crappy day. You can't really tell because we got the garage door down slightly, but it was raining out. We had the dogs out there earlier running around with us, trying to keep a leash on them, figuratively speaking, and do this. And meanwhile, one of the dogs doesn't really like the sound of the bucking. It just got a little crazy. We had to take them back inside and not be distracted. So here shortly, you're going to see a change, ever so slight change of venue, and normally I would have a lot more video to show around this. I mean, obviously we're not completely finished with the bottom here. I still have to flip it over, like that, and do the rest of the rivets, but there's a point at which where things just kind of stop. And the reason they stop is because the camera battery ran out and I didn't notice because I just didn't hear the little bleep while I was talking. So without much further ado, we'll move on to the next section of videos, which is going to look ever so slightly different. That's right, it's hangar time. So something I talked about previously was that I was going to be moving into a T-hanger, and I have done so. I got a pretty good deal on a T-hanger, and I am now building here, and I'm also using this as my office. Here's what it looked like when it was empty, and here's a good reference of scale, by the way, to show you how big it is. I've been going out there during the day, during the week, and you see me with my laptop there. I'm able to do my work as well as putter on the plane at the same time, which is going to confuse my hours a little bit, but I'll try to manage and keep it a little straight. Here between talking to my employees, I am working on the various bell crank rib parts and getting those prepared to be placed into the plane, and I'll make it easier to see that here. And so something you're going to see me doing is going back over and typing on the computer a lot, and I'm sorry about that. I'll try to be better about that and not bore you and make you watch too much of that, but it is going to happen sometimes. Here I'm working on, like I said, getting those bell crank ribs set and ready to go, and I only show you the one. Trust me, the other one works just the same, except I'm interrupted every 3 seconds, and I basically see more typing than actually working on the bell crank rib, but it does get done. Basically, I'm just putting on the nut plates. Only complaint I have here is that the nut plates are in different bags, and just make sure you have the right ones. Here I'm doing the work of installing the bell crank ribs into the body itself, and that's clecoing from the underside, and then I'll flip it up on its side and do the bottom skin riveting, which is what I'm doing here. It goes really quick, pretty easy, not a great camera view. Sorry about that. Once I get the top side done, I start to work on the bottom side, and I realize, you know what? I bet it would be a lot easier if I just flip this sucker over and go the other way, and sure enough, it was. So this is, again, nothing hard here. You're able to reach it if you have, even moderately long arms. And then once you get that portion done, you have to work on the aft end of it here on the inside, and I'm trying to go back and forth and use the squeezer, and I think I can only use one of the squeezers, and I changed my yoke, and that helped. So, but then I had to find the foot-shaped bucking bar and use that, because that one just became much easier to use, and that's what I'm doing there. Eventually I turn it back up on its butt and continue working on a rivet that I needed to drill out. I hung my fingernail on it. I'm like, nope, that one's got to go. Then you see me put the aft deck on there because it says specifically, and this is 1021 step 4, you need to rivet the longerons underneath the aft deck. And so that's what I'm doing here. I put the aft deck on there just long enough to go, okay, it means these. And so now I put in rivets, put tape across all of them, and then I will begin the riveting process to get those rivets in place. I thought honestly, I thought the longerons was going to be a pain to work with. Actually, they were the easiest to work with, simply because you really can't dent the skin through the longeron because it's just such a thick piece of angle aluminum. Whereas with the stiffeners, they're no thicker than the skin. So if you hold your bucking bar at a funky angle, you can actually dent the skin through the stiffener. That's not possible through the longeron. So it actually makes the longerons really easy to work with. Once that's done, it's about putting the aft deck in place and actually beginning the process of riveting that up. I will explain that or show that next time. So I'm going to wrap it up there, guys. Trying to keep it under 10 minutes. Thanks, everyone. Talk to you later.